The last 4 years for the media has been very tricky, to say the least. So I want to talk a little bit about how the media has been doing covering the Trump White House, the campaigns, and how you think they should cover Election Day. First, I think it's safe to say the media has never been presented with a president like this and the challenges that he's presented with the media. So through the history perspective that you bring, do you think that the media has risen to the challenge at this time? And kind of, as Donald Trump presents them as the enemy of the people, do you think they've been able to take on the task and prove that's not the case?
I think overall, in the main, the press has done an admirable job in covering this campaign, and for that matter, in covering this presidency. Having said that, it bothers me that the number of local newspapers and local news operations has shrunk so dramatically in recent years, and they are a very important part of any campaign coverage. So many of them have folded, so many of them disappeared or cut back, that's on the minus side. But for those, particularly the large journalistic institutions, we're talking now the New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, true papers with true national distribution. I think overall in the main, on the editorial side of that is the reporting side of the paper, they've done a very good job. In the face of unrelenting attacks by the president himself to undermine public confidence in the press. I would say that those of us in the press here in the 2020 campaign have made some of the mistakes we made in previous presidential years.
Earlier this week, CNN's Jim Acosta posted a video while he was covering a rally, and he said it seemed like the entire crowd was chanting "CNN sucks" to him. And he remarked that he had covered 5 presidential campaigns long enough to know this isn't normal. And I was wondering if you ever encountered anything like that during your reporting, where the press seemed so unwanted and people didn't recognize the importance of the press.
No. What's happening at the Trump rallies with the press is unprecedented. And mostly because the president himself is leading it. He's laid the groundwork for it. His relentless attacks on the press, in effect, even beg his supporters to be as nasty as they can to the press. And when you have these large rallies with the president himself at the podium, and the crowd begins saying in unison, "CNN sucks," just to use one example. There's never been anything like it in American politics. The president obviously thinks it's effective and a help to his campaign. We'll see once all the votes are in and counted on Election Day.
Do you think that he's done permanent damage to the media, though? That, can this industry ever recover from what he's done?
Well, certainly the press can recover from the damage that's been done in the last few years. Like a lot of the other damage that has been done to the country, it will take time and it will take patience. And in this case, it'll take the patience of the press. But I'm a strong believer, as a lifetime reporter who has made my mistakes, nobody can do it perfectly, that the best we can do when we're faced with this kind of criticism and this kind of power at the very top, seeking to destroy the public's credibility with the press, the most important thing we can do is just do our damn job. The job is to get the facts, to analyze the facts, because we all know you can know all the facts and still not know the truth. Get the facts, analyze the facts, connect the dots, get as close to the truth as is humanly possible, and then speak it, report it. When we do our job that way, whatever criticism we get, our standing with the public will take care of itself.
And a lot of us, even members of the press, critique kind of other members of the press. We see them in the briefing room and we wonder, why didn't they ask this question or that question? And during the debate, a lot of people questioned whether the moderators were doing a good job. I know you moderated a debate in the past. What do you think about that criticism? Is there something else the media, should they be pushing this president harder than other presidents? Are they being too soft, too hard? Kind of what are your thoughts?
Well, as for the moderators in the so-called debates, I say so-called debates because they aren't debates. They're television spectaculars. They're happenings, but they're not debates. But the moderators, I think overall in the main, they did pretty well. Some did better than others, in my opinion, but they all tried hard and did their best. And I'm reminded, you know, long ago in West Texas cow towns, there used to be signs up saying, please don't shoot the piano player. He's doing the best that he can. Well, I thought about that in terms of the moderators, male and female, that they were doing the best they can. As for the press as a whole, I think they get a high mark, get good grades for pressing the president, even when the pressure is put on them not to ask a tough question. They've pressed the president pretty well, some more than others, but overall in the main, I give the press an A, not just for effort, but for actually asking questions, following up, and either getting an answer to the question or demonstrating that the questioner, the interview subject, is not going to answer the question. But again, I get back to, you know, I like to discuss the press and things having to do with the media. But in the end, we're just one part of a system of checks and balances that helps make the country what it is. The judiciary has to do its part. The legislative branch has to do its part. And the press, the so-called, quote, fourth branch of government, has to do its part.